I was having technical difficulties, so hopefully I can figure out. There we are. Okay. All right. So I'm here. Figure out what was going on. I had to change my background, and I'm working on some stuff. And so today my background looks a little bit janky, but that's okay because it's not about me. So don't look at the screen. When I get it together, it'll be all right. I'm getting my togethers together. But thank you for joining in tonight on Mind Your Business. This is Minority Health Awareness Month. And tonight I have a special guest that is near and dear to my heart that is going to be talking about men's health and how important it is to take care of yourself and to take care of your health and to go get regular checkups. My guest, I feel like I just met yesterday, but then I feel like I've been knowing them for a lifetime. They are a good friend, a good mentor, a good confidant, someone that I like to spend a lot of time with, and someone that just makes my heart beat. And it's so funny. I'm glad that I'm able to have this guest tonight because October 11th, 2019, it could have been different, and I could be sitting here having a whole different conversation. And so, my guest, if you haven't guessed it by now, is my husband. His name is Frank Steens, and I'm going to add him to the stream. And husband, welcome. If you will unmute yourself and turn your camera on. Hello.
Hello, Miss Steens. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
You look good. You look nice, and your background is awesome. I mean, it looks like I'm in a
Okay.
dungeon right now, but we gotta start somewhere. But you look awfully
Right.
vibrant.
Right.
You look alive. So welcome, Mr. Steens. I'm so glad to have you on tonight as my guest, and especially talking about men's health awareness for this month of minority health awareness. I want to first, before we get started, say that we've got an initiative going on with the barbershop, and Buddy Love is who we are going to be collaborating with to do this men's health awareness for this month. And I believe it's on April 24th. And it'll be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We've still got to work out some details, but we've got some door prizes. We've got some great giveaways. We're going to have some free CPR classes that are going to be given away. We are going to have some gift bags that are going to give away. And we're also going to do blood pressure screenings, and we are going to give you information on where you can go to get your health checked out. And so stay tuned for more information on that. If you would like to support or give a donation, please do so. Myself and Buddy Love, Nikidra from CPR, First CPR, and Forward Visions are supporting this and are driving this initiative. Your For My Life and Reconcile Financial are supporters as well, and we are just excited to be able to present this month. We There's an initiative that's been going on for a long time, and they actually started it out of Indianapolis. And so I interviewed Mr. James Garrett, who actually was telling me about this, and I just thought it was really a great thing. Now, we don't really have this initiative, and we're not really in partnership with them right now, but we have been working with them to get information and to try to get this thing off the ground. And so, with your support, I believe that we will be able to grow this thing and get more awareness on men's health. So, if you would like to support, you can do so at yourfullmindlife.com, and you can go to the donations page and you can give a donation for sponsorship and just type in there what you wanted to go for. We've got a mission that's going on in Africa that we've been working with women and children, and myself and my husband have fully supported and funded that. Today we were able to purchase them a generator and a projector, so that way we can actually see each other a little better and get some more technology going for them. And they were so excited, and so we're going to send out some pictures and everything to show everybody what we've been working on in that development. And so we are just grateful that God is allowing us to do these things, because we know how important it is to support others and to support each other and to just minister to those who are less fortunate. And so without any further ado, thank you again for joining us, and welcome, my sweet, loving husband of 20 years. I love you. Thank you for coming on my show. You're actually my
Love
first
you
guest of
too.
April, and you just found out that you were my guest, huh? I
Yeah, I
put you on
found
the
out. Yeah.
spot. So, sir, if you would like
You-
to tell us who you are and what you do and why you're actually here today, you don't have to go into anything other than what you want to discuss. This is your platform.
like I said, be ready at all times. You did tell me about, I think, yesterday or today. Was it today? Yeah, it was
I think
today,
it was
this
today.
morning. Yeah. But I just want to, first of all, say congratulations to you. I see how much joy it brings you to be able to give people a platform to be able to speak about, numerous topics. And I see the people that um, contact you all the time. And I just want to say congratulations to you and keep doing what you're doing. But as far as me, in the the Men's Health Coalition that we're trying that we're doing in April, it's really important to be able to take care of yourself and have self care. I mean, I had to learn that the hard way, and it's everything happens for a reason though. So I mean, when it happened to me, a lot of people like called me and said they ran to the hospital to get checked out and or to their doctor to get checked out because I mean that's what we hear as a young black men growing up is that uh, high blood pressure or certain things just run high in your culture. So it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. And, it's just everybody deals with it. So it's not a big deal. But it is really, really serious. And even for me, I mean, at the time I had high blood pressure and that's all I heard. And I knew people that were 65, 70 that had high blood pressure. And, it seemed to be that's just something that you deal with. But you just never know. It can really catch you at a time uh, and do something to you that you really are not expecting. But I mean, so it's really important to take time out. I mean, in our busy lives and to have self care is what it is. I think you just to be able to that you're taking care of families, you're working, you're doing whatever you got to do, and you just sometimes forget about yourself or you put yourself on the back burner to be able to take care of everything else you do take care of it, but you have to be able to take care of yourself. And as far as I even talked to my cardiologist and said the same thing. I think I mentioned that uh, uh, high blood pressure runs high in the black community, and she said that's false. She's been reading the book. I can't even remember the name of the book, but she was there with me, and she
Mhm.
said it's all lies. It's all made up. It's just people don't want to take the time to do the research and to do the backdrops on everybody to be able to get the proper studies to help us out. So sometimes you have to do it yourself, and if they don't want to give you the proper care, you gotta pressure them and make sure that they do. Because even when I went, when I noticed that my blood pressure was like 200 over uh, 115, different things like that, I went to try to get it taken care of, and it was like uh, there's only so much we can do, and everything else is going to be up to you. They left it pretty much, uh, on my shoulders to be able to figure out how to get my blood pressure down. Like you need to figure out some kind of way to go somewhere and meditate and somewhere to take deep breaths and all these different things, which probably do work. But I mean, it was a little bit hindsight for me. I mean, I had a full load at the time, and and after all everything happened, come to find out, there was a lot more that they really could have done to help out the situation more than just leaving it basically on me. So
Yeah.
I think self care is really important.
Absolutely, it is. And I know that I used to drive you crazy because I would get mad at you and I'd be like, you need to go get that checked out and da 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 da. And you'd be like, I got responsibilities. I gotta go to work and take care of this family. What we gonna do? And I'm like, we gonna be all right. But if something happens to you, what am I gonna do? And so, I mean, I apologize for not understanding how to speak to you in the right way to encourage you to get checked out instead of being on your back and nagging you to the point of you need to go get it checked out like like you're a little kid or something and trying to tell you what to do. That wasn't the case. I was just concerned, and you just dealt with things, and you would always, you're just so nonchalant about stuff. I don't ever know if you're in pain. You don't tell me, you don't talk about it, you keep it to yourself. And so when you actually decided to go to the hospital, I knew something's going on. But then here I go with my jokes. I'm, I'm be
Yeah,
laughing and I'm talking about that ain't my husband, and your eyes
yeah,
are like, what in the world is going? Why are you
yeah.
talking crazy?
You joked at the wrong time.
I know, right? Because I didn't know that that could have been the last time that we could have
Right.
laughed together, that we could have talked together. And I'm just so thankful that we were in a good place at that time,
Yeah.
because that would have been horrible if something worse would have happened. And then we wouldn't be able to have this conversation, and I wouldn't be able to ask you for forgiveness for me being a nag on you, and putting stress and strain on you about your health and things. And I know we were dealing with a lot at that time, and men handle things differently than women. So can we talk about that? Can we talk about men's and emotional intelligence and how they handle things differently than how women handle it?
I think, I mean, it's not your fault. I mean, a lot of people don't like to go to the doctor or go to the hospital and get checked out. They self analyze, and maybe even for me, I would, if I had some kind of symptoms, I would Google the symptoms, and if it wasn't serious, I would wait a couple of days to see if it would go away. So I mean, a lot of people just don't want to take the time out to go to get checked out before that, because I mean, you just have a busy life. And so you telling me to go, I mean, you were doing the right thing. Any wife that would do the same thing would be doing the right thing. You're supposed to tell somebody to go get checked out and have your regular visits and all everything like that. But I felt like I was at a young enough age at that point in time. You just think things don't catch up, but they eventually will. And as far as the emotional intelligence part, um, I mean, I think men are a little bit logical. I mean, logically, I was analyzing it in a way of I'm at a certain age, you know, and my dad's still alive, my mom is still alive. You know what I mean? So, I mean, just logically, I'm like I'm gonna be fine. You know what I mean? It's not that serious, you know. So you just kind of put things off. And then I just knew the stress of the job and the stress of all the things that we were taking on, new things, and you just have to, when you take on more things, you have to make new avenues for different things. You have to figure out a way to relieve your stresses in different ways. The more things that you take on, and that's I had everything mastered far as my regular life, but we had took on so much in a short period of time that and it was just so many different things to figure out, so many things to think about, and so many future things that was trying to figure out what that was going to look like. But you had to learn to leave things in God's hand and just and learn how to really let Him take care of everything, and just live life and not really stress out on anything. So I mean, that day, even when it happened, I was off work that day, and then I felt a sharp pain in my back, and then I kind of buckled to my knees a little bit and crawled into the other room, and then I got up, figured everything was okay, and shook it off. Went back to work the next day, and I think I ended up working late because somebody called off, so I didn't go to the doctor that day. And then I think I worked 3 days before I ended up going to the hospital. And then just because the third day that I worked, I think I was able to get off early enough to go, because I didn't want to go to the doctor at 9 o'clock at night, because I know I wouldn't be able to get home until 12 or 1. So I think I got off at 5 or 6, and I ended up going, and they did the CAT scan and said that your aorta is busted. You should be dead right now. You shouldn't even be alive. You should be. I don't even know how you made it this far. And even when we go to surgery, there's a 1% chance out of 100 that we can even be successful with this. So I'm laying there and I'm like, and that's when you came around the corner. He was like, "That ain't my husband," but but at the time, I mean, I didn't really know what to feel. I didn't know whether to feel scared, cry, pray. I mean, it was just all of a sudden, because I thought they was going to tell me you was pulled a muscle, and here take this. these 3 pills and call me in the morning. But it was more, your aorta's busted. We're about to get the helicopter down here and fly you to Indianapolis. So it was all overwhelming for me. I'm like, this is crazy. And so the lady in the hospital kept trying to get my blood pressure down because you can't go into surgery with high blood pressure. So she kept giving me all these fluids and pills and everything. And then when I got in the helicopter, I'm talking to the pilot and the two on the on staff nurses that take you on the helicopter, and I'm asking them, okay, what kind of surgery is this? Is what's the likelihood of me making it? And am I going to be okay? Is it going to be successful? And nobody would give me an answer. Everybody I ask everybody in the hospital, I ask everybody on the helicopter, and everybody kept saying they'll do their best. So I'm like, what are you talking about? I need somebody. I don't care if you're making it up or not. Tell me you're gonna be good. It's gonna be fine. But everybody's just like they're gonna try their best. And so I knew it was serious. They flew me to a different hospital, got me in the ambulance, and drove me to the hospital that I needed to have the surgery. And it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody was there. It was pretty much pitch black. The doctor just happened to be in the town. The best surgeon in
The
town
best.
happened to the best just happened to be the best surgeon in Indiana, I think, happened to be
I
there
think in the
at the
maybe
same
the
time.
country, so
So I went in there and I talked to him. I said the same thing, like, what's the likelihood of me making it? Is it going to be successful? Am I going to be okay? And he said, we're going to try our best. So I'm like, okay, wow. So we get into to the surgery room, and they started prepping me and trying to put me to sleep. The nurse grabbed my thumb and started rocking back and forth, doing like a little dance and trying to calm my nerves, I guess. And then I guess after that, you pretty much know everything that happened. I don't even know what pretty much
I
happened
know.
after that. But it was it was a crazy time. So I mean, I do see life in a totally different way now. I mean, it's every day is a day to rejoice and to thank God for what He was able to bring me through. That He is that 1%. He's that 1% out of 100. So I thank God for seeing me through, and
Yeah.
I uh, got to thank God for that. So
Well, it's funny because when you talk about the 1%, so I remember when I came in there and they said, "Mr. Steens, your husband is really ill," and I was like, "That ain't my husband because my husband was fine just a minute ago. So what y'all do?" I'm like, "Yeah, right,
right,
okay." And just in an instant, my whole life changed. It's like I seen everything flash, and when they started telling me what was going on, it's like everything just went silent. I didn't know, and I remember just spinning around in a circle. I don't remember anything else but telling Jennifer, I need you to come and get me and take me to Indianapolis. I didn't tell her nothing else. I said, get my mother-in-law and come and get me and take me to Indianapolis. And I turned around and she was standing there. And then I remember we got in the car and I was in the back seat. And so I was trying to digest everything that I had been told. And so I'm like, okay, let's Google this and see what's going on. And as soon as I pulled it up, it said 1%. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me right now. You're telling me my husband has a 1% chance to live. I didn't say a word. I was just silent and I just started praying. And then I got on Facebook and Messenger and I just started messaging all the saints, all the prayer warriors, everybody that I can think of. I need you to pray right now. I don't even know if I told people what was going on. I don't remember. All I was saying was, I need you to pray. Pray like you never prayed before. We know God is a healer. We know He can handle this. And so I remember getting to the hospital and I had got a hold of someone to get a hold of your dad. I think your Aunt Marilyn finally got a hold of your dad. And your dad showed up around the same time that we were there. And he was so worried about me. He was like, you need to go rest. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be okay. I just need to know my husband is going to be okay. And so I remember he found a room and he asked him to let me lay down. And I just went into this room because mind you, we went to the hospital on Friday night at 7 p.m. They took you into surgery. They flew you out of Indianapolis, I think, at midnight. I mean, flew you out of Muncie at midnight, which it was raining. It was crazy outside. They had no transportation to take you. And then here comes the helicopter, had to land on our hospital. And that was God. because if they wouldn't have landed there, you would have not had a way to get to Indianapolis. And then they were like, "We're gonna make this happen. We're gonna do what we need to do." And they were like, "Ma'am, we are gonna take care of your husband." And I was like, I believe that the people on the see, this is what I know about my God. He will send you a comforter. He sent us a comforter already, but he will reiterate who he is. And when that helicopter landed and they got out, they came in there and they assured me you were going to be fine. They told me your husband's going to be okay. Don't worry, he's going to be okay. And they were the only ones. It was three of them. Now think about that. It was three of them. It was a man and two women. And they were just so adamant about they were going to make sure you were okay, and I didn't have to worry. And so I remember us leaving the hospital, and I got in, and I heard the helicopter flying, and I'm like, we're right behind the helicopter, and I just wanted to keep up with it, just to make sure that you got where you were going safe. But I felt like everything was going to be okay. I just did. I'm like, okay, God, we got to go through this for a reason, but we're going to come out of this stronger. You are putting us in a situation that we're going to be able to come out better. And so I started praying. I started messaging everybody. And then when we got to the hospital and your dad found me that room, and I went in and I started praying, and I called someone and I asked them to pray. And when we got off the phone praying, you went in surgery at 2:00. And I will not forget, at 5:00, we hung up on that phone, and the doctor walked in and said, "Mrs. Steens, your husband is a living, breathing miracle." I said, "That's nothing but God. Thank you, Jesus." That's the first thing I said, and I will never forget it. He's just like, "Well, we're not out of the woods yet." I'm like, "He's fine. He's okay. God is a healer. When can I see him?" That's all I cared about, is when can I see you. Now, you had no clue of all you have been through. They took your heart out of you. It was totally disconnected from your body. They cut you open, and it was like, it was so long that you and I still haven't had this conversation about what you've actually been through, because you didn't know. And I mean, we get into the hospital and I stayed with you that whole week, and I didn't think of not anything else except for I'm going to be by my husband's side. And when you came out of it, you were a totally different person. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, he get ready to see the light. He gonna come out talking about, and it was not that. It was not that. Your mind was not in that place. You were just so disgruntled about where you were, and these people are taking care of you, and you were so about, I need to take care of myself. And I'm just like, oh my God, Jesus, make him to lie down, because because they said they were going to induce you in a coma in 3 days. And on Saturday evening, Sunday morning, you came out the coma on your own, and they didn't want you to. They were like, wait a minute, we need him to relax, but they couldn't stop you. You were determined. And then you got up and started walking. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Get back in this bed, lay down. But you knew the power of God. You knew what he had done for your life. And you got up and you were like, I'm gonna walk. You ain't gonna keep me in this bed. I'm getting ready to get out of here. And I think you were supposed to stay in the hospital for like 14 to 21 days, something like that. And you were out of the hospital in like 11 days. I mean, you just recovered so quickly. They and everybody in the hospital came to visit you. These people came to see this 1% miracle man. And I started laughing, and I said, my husband, he always talking about 1%. Now we're a part of the 1%. I didn't know it was going to be this way, but Jesus, thank you, Lord, for sparing my husband's life, because this could have been a tragedy. I mean, I could be talking to women about being a widow, and making sure that their husbands get checked out. But I'm living proof that today God healed my husband, and he kept him here. But we got to do the right thing. We got to do the work. We got to make sure. So I mean, and I feel like I fed you healthy. I mean, I don't cook bad and stuff like that, but there was more I could do. There was more I could do as far as our eating habits, and we eat late night, and but I'm so thankful that God has given us this opportunity, because right after that COVID came, and I'm just like, seriously, one more thing, and then here I go losing it. And you were so strong through all of that, and after everything you have went through, you were still being the leader of this family. You were still pushing through to do what you needed to do to take care of us. And I thank you for not giving up on God, not giving up on yourself, not giving up on us in this family, and fighting for your life to be here because God makes all things new and He restored us. He redeemed some things in us that we had to go through and that we had to look at that's not important. It's not. Because if you weren't here anymore, none of that stuff would even matter. And that's what people need to understand. Our men are valuable. Our men are our leaders. Our black men are strong, but somewhere along the way they've got lost in this wave of feeling like they have to be a certain way or do a certain thing or react in certain ways. And us as women, we've got to take better care of our men. And we've got to stand in the gap for them. We've got to be that spirit that helps guide them in the right direction and encourage them and not just have them carrying the whole load. It's a 100 partnership. I don't expect 50% from you, and I don't expect you to expect 50% from me. We got to give 100% to each other at all times. And you coming through this shows the 100% that you gave. And I know I don't say it enough, and I don't get to tell you enough how much I love you and how important you are to me. But you are. And I think we take that for granted because we see each other. I mean, we've been together for 25 years, but it just seems like yesterday that I met you. But I was 21 years old when I met you, and that is my whole adult life. You're the only man that I've known, and I don't know what I would do without you. So I'm so grateful to God that you are my guest tonight. And not only that, but when we get off of this call, I get to spend more time with you. So thank you for that.
Yeah, God definitely is good. I mean, I appreciate you having me on the call, and I hopefully somebody can get something out of it and realize that uh, you can't judge a life based on everything that's around you. I think that's what I was doing, and 25 years is a long time. I love you, and I appreciate you calling everybody and asking them to pray. I think I talked to uh, a buddy of mine's wife, and she said that they were sitting there Sunday morning, and the pastor said, "There's a gentleman that's in the hospital. We need to pray for." And I think they told him where I worked at or something like that. So they started to get the idea of who it was, and they said they pretty much was like, from what I went in the hospital for, it was a done deal. It was, it was a lost cause, but they were just going to pray because that was the right thing to do, I guess. But but
But see,
they pretty
that's the
much
thing that's scary. When you tell somebody something's going on, folks already got you in the casket. I was like, I gotta
right.
call the right folks that know how to pray in the right spirit
Hmm.
because I don't need nobody woe is me and feeling sorry for me right now. We serve a God that's mighty and powerful and strong, and He gonna make it. I just need you to
Right.
pray that God make it do what it do right now. We need you
So
to come
prayer,
quick.
yeah, prayer changes things. I mean, all the people that in that church and our church and other churches and churches in Indianapolis, and it's a good thing that we are connectional. So I mean, everybody that prayed and uh,
Around the world, I told you I need to get a
around the world.
map around the world. You had people from Africa because they were on a mission there from Indianapolis church, and they were praying for you. I mean, you had people everywhere, all walks of life, praying for you. And you know what? People know goodness. No matter what, we fall short, all of us, and so we can't condemn anybody by past or future. We just got to look at the present. And people knew your goodness, and they knew what type of person you was, and how you help others, and people were supporting you. They were rooting for you, and I'm thankful to that. Because if you wasn't right, if you was some kind of scoundrel, folks might have been praying for you in the mind.
Right, right. I mean, it is, and I'll talk about that in the sermons that I do. It's really what kind of spirit do you have? I mean, and I've done all kind of things, and I've been wrong in a lot of different ways, and fell short of the glory of God. But I always had a good spirit. I always have been a loving person, and that's, I think carries a lot of weight. So I mean, I was glad that you reached out to everybody. I do love you for the time before that, the 25 years. I love you for being there for me at that point in time too. And I think, I mean, what a lot of it is, from what I've taken it, and a lot of stuff has transpired after that, from the Black Lives Matter and boys getting shot in the street, all these different things that we go through as black males. You live in this fight or flight response that you don't even know that you live in. I mean, because you want to say that they say that your blood pressure just runs high automatically. It has to be a reason for that. Nobody wants to either tell the truth or do the research on it. But from what I understand and from what I've been seeing is you're and even the black community period, you're always on this uh, edge. You know, I mean, they talk about the angry black woman or the man that's pretty much in America that is pretty much considered a thug or different things like that, or you might get pulled over and the cops might view you in the wrong way, even though you're not that kind of person. So you're pretty much even at your job, like your job is you got different politics going on there that you have to deal with, that you have to suck up sometimes and just deal with it because you got a family to take care of. It's all kind of things that people deal with, and you're walking around in this flatter fight response, which it says that your blood pressure raises, your eyesight enhances, your everything gets ready for either a fight or a flight. And if you're walking around like that, if you're walking around in some type of PTSD syndrome, pretty much all the time, like you're in some type of war ground, but you look normal. You're talking to everybody normal. You're speaking to everybody normal, and you seem calm, and you seem uh, like a normal person. You seem like you're at a normal state, but really you're going through situations that everybody in the world don't have to go through, and people don't realize that. And so then when things you go to the doctor and they say your blood pressure's high, and why are you not relaxed? Why are you not calm? Why are you not able to uh, be at a normal state like everybody else? And they can't ever figure it out. But it's a lot of different things that a lot of pressures that we go through on that level uh, that that are starting to change now because of some of the things that we see in the street by the Black Lives Matter or some of the laws that they finally put a law out there that it's against the law to hang somebody or to build a noose. And then you see the thing with George Floyd getting killed in the middle of the street. I mean, that could happen to anybody. So you don't really know. So I mean, you just walk around this planet and in this country, and you're just at any point in time just thinking, how are people going to view me? How are people going to react to me? And so you have to be ready to go at all times. And and you don't have that opportunity to relax and just be a normal person like everybody else. And nobody really has a voice sometimes to be able to say those kind of things. But you God said He'll take care of His people. So any weapon that's formed against you, it ain't going to prosper anyway. And that's what I realized going into that situation. Even when I was in the hospital, when it was before I got in the helicopter, I'm like, we had already been pretty deep into getting back into learning who God was at that point in time. So I don't remember saying this long, drawn out prayer. And I even talk about that when we did the podcast about a closer walk with Jesus. Is I already felt like we were friends at that time. I didn't have to really say anything. I didn't really have to say a long, drawn out prayer. I just said something like, "Hey, where you at?" uh,
Like, call your boy. I
yeah,
need you.
yeah, right. I need you right now, and that's all it really takes. I mean, and at that point in time, I mean, it definitely in the prayers that everybody was giving me, it really definitely paid off. So, and even and then after that, like you said, I was a little bit different, and it says that going through some of these things, you start to be depressed because you feel like, why me, and why this happened to me, and I kind of did think like that at a point in time because I'm like, I was 250 pounds. I always would go between 250 and 255. So I'm like, I knew people that's 450, 500 pounds that don't have the same issue. So I'm like, why did it happen to me? Why did my high blood pressure that supposedly is uh, rampant in my culture? Why did it happen to me that way? But like everything happens for a reason, and then one of the reasons is to be able to tell other people to make sure that you take care of yourself. Make sure you have self care. Make sure you exercise if you can. I mean, my doctor after the surgery, I went to the cardiologist, and he was like, "You can't exercise no more. You can't do a bunch of things that you used to be able to do. You have to be able to take it easy because we don't really know um, what can happen and what can jar itself inside, and so you just have to really take it easy. So while you have the opportunity to do some things, just don't take them for granted. I mean, if you need to get out and jog and exercise, or if you know you need to eat right, all the things that you know that you probably should be doing. What I was doing was looking at everybody else and say, I know people that do it too. I know people that's older than me that do it. I know 60-year-old people. My dad's 60 something years old, and he's in pretty good health. So I'm like, I'm looking at genes, and because every time you go to the doctor, it's like, what's your daddy got? What's your mama got? So I'm like, they they're living. So I'm like, I'm at least make it to 60, without any problems. But you just don't ever know. You have to you can't live life like based on everybody else. If you know the right thing to do, you have to have self care and do the right thing. And I even have a new Bible verse now, John 2, John 2, verse 20. It says, they replied, it has taken 46 years to build this temple, and you are going to raise it in 3 days. So I'm like, it ain't, I know that it's about Jesus Christ, but it's funny that I was 46 years old when this happened to me. And like you said, 3 days later, he, he, he set me up, and I was supposed to be in a coma for who knows how long. And the surgery was supposed to last 12 hours, but it got done in 2. So, I mean, I just thank God for what he was able to do for me. And I'm still here for a reason. And part of it is probably to let other people know, yeah, to be your husband, and to take care of this family, and also to let other people know the power of God, and let them know what He can do for you, and let them know that self care is very important.
Absolutely. And I thank you because you don't share this story. And that's why I didn't tell you ahead of time that you were going to be my guest, because I knew you were going to try to put too much thought into it. You were going to try to think about it. You were going to try to figure out what to say. And I didn't want you to do that. I just wanted you to be raw and honest with your story, because you feel like everybody has a story, and this, you still are that guy that cares more about everybody else, that you don't even tell people what you've been through. And they don't, unless they know what you've been through, they don't know. But I'm running around telling everybody a story because I want them to know the power of God and what He can do. And it's so crazy because I had no clue, you know, like the other night when I had my wake up call. We're gonna leave that to another
Right.
night. But anyways, I had no clue the stress that was on Black men like that. And it's because we've been programmed to think a certain way about Black men, and we have been taught a certain way to think about Black males. And so what did I used to think? Well, you must have did something wrong, or you wouldn't have been, you used to always try to tell me things, and you would call me names. I'm like, that's not how I feel. People should just do the right thing. And not understanding that it's not about just doing the right thing. It doesn't matter if you do the right thing or not. You don't ever know what situation you might find yourself in, that you might not even place yourself in, and just living with those stresses. Are you going to make it home? Are you going to be able to go to work and leave work and make it home, or go to the gas station or go to the grocery store alone by yourself or whatever and make it home? That's not even something that crossed my mind. You always are going to come home. Why am I worried about you not coming home? You know what I'm saying? I never once thought about it like that. And then when all this was happening, and with the Black Lives Matter, I mean, you were so ingrained in all of this stuff. It was worrying me because you were like, you had just come out of this surgery, and you had your life, and now you're like, this is what it is. This is what is I've been dealing with, and I haven't been able to talk to nobody, and I haven't been able to give anybody an understanding of why I'm holding all this stuff in, and why I've internalized all of these things, because this is the way I was taught. I have to be strong, and I have to take care of my family, and I have to stand up, and I don't need to worry about myself. I got to take care of everybody else, and I got to be strong, and I got to be the man, and I got to be the leader, and I gotta keep going when nobody else is going. And all this time, I'm just thinking I got this strong husband, and I wish that I could have been better at understanding the situation as a male because I didn't. You weren't like everybody else. You weren't. You're not the type of people they're talking about, but you are, and you knew that, and you understood that. But I didn't see it that way. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't understand what you were dealing with outside of home. Home is one situation. This should be your sanctuary. But then you go to work and you have to deal with nonsense there. And then you have to deal with making it home from work. Then you have to deal with all these other things that are going on and the enemy trying to attack and and still trying to be this stand up man that is trying to do the right thing and lead by example. And it's too much. It's too much. And I'm just glad that God saw fit to give us the opportunity to be able to understand what life is all about, understand what teamwork is all about. And you remember you had preached, teamwork makes the dream work. And you preached right after you got out
Mm.
of the hospital. And I mean, it was just like a totally different point of view on how you were looking at things now. And like I said, it took some time for you to get back in full speed of yourself and to grasp a hold of those things that you used to do you can't do anymore, but that's okay because God gave us a new beginning. He gave us a new life. He reconciled us and made all things new and washed away all the old and all the things that we were taking time out to be concerned about. He showed us what was important. He made us get our priorities straight. He helped us to understand what this ministry of reconciliation was all about. And I'm grateful for that. And so I thank you for sharing your story because, like I said, if I would have told you ahead of time, we probably still wouldn't be having this conversation yet because you'd still be preparing for it. So that's why I just did what I did. And I knew that you would just, once you got on here, you would tell your story. And I know you're not mad at me for doing that. But I tell your story, but nobody can tell your story better than you. And nobody can understand what you've been through more than you. I've been on the sidelines and I've watched it and I've got one perspective of what I went through with you. But having you gone through it and be able to stand and testify and talk about what you've been brought through, that's the power of God. And that's why we love him. That's why we follow him. That's why we count it all joy, knowing that no matter what happens, no matter how bad it might look, it's going to get better.
That's the truth. That's the truth. I mean, I didn't have a clue about it. I mean, I don't know what I would have prepared for it. I mean, it's all remember, but I probably would have put some thought into it. But I mean, I don't know why I don't talk about it. I guess it's a lot of different thoughts that go through my mind. I think at the time I had so much stuff going on. I'm like, I was at the job for 17 years, and I was like, okay, I'm getting closer and closer to a lot of different things that we've been working on. I'm about to uh, graduate and finish school that I end up doing that late in life, and then going to some of the classes that I've been going to, and being able to preach and things like that. I'm like, it's going to be hard for me to be able to do some of these things and still work this uh, 10-hour a day job that I was doing. And I asked him to find a way to take me out and still be able to, do all the things that I've been able to do before, like far
Look
as,
at God.
walk 2 layers. But you've got to be careful what you ask for. I mean, he definitely made a way. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. You know what I mean? But I have had more time with the family. And then COVID hit right after that. So if you don't have your family in order at this point in time, I mean, everybody has spent so much time with family, and even without going through what I went through, but it's just God does what He wants to do, and He does it for a reason, though. And it's been a joy to be able to be here with the family and get some of the passing by relationships that we would normally have. That we've actually been able to spend a lot more time together and see what He has in store for us. But yeah, I don't know why I don't talk. I don't just bring that up every time I meet some or see somebody. I think we talked to some other guy the other day. He was telling me about all the things that he went through, and then you normally step in and be like, "Well, he went through this." I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I don't like to. I just don't mention it every point in time because I mean, he's delivered me. He actually seen me through, and I'm looking at more of the reason why he spared me and giving me the second opportunity. I'm looking more at that opposed to the the situation that I went through. And I'm just looking at making sure I'm doing everything the right way now, and making sure that I'm not disappointing him and anybody else in this opportunity that I have. You know.
Mhm. Well, it's funny because the guy the other day that was telling us his story, I'm just like, don't worry, God's a healer and he believed in God. And I was like, look at my husband. He saved his life. He's still here. He only had 1% chance to live. So hey, you're gonna be all right too. Just trust and believe in God and he'll save you and
Right.
set you free. And so, with that being said, I enjoy our conversations that we have and the way that we engage with one another and how we can maybe make show a difference to other people in relationships. We don't always laugh and get along with each other. We have our good days and we have our bad days, but we always come back together and we connect on a higher level every single time. And so I just can't wait to see what God has for us next. And I probably said that too fast because who knows what we might have to go through to get to this next adventure. But
Oh,
this
that's what life is about. That's what life is about, going through things. I mean, and some of the stuff. I mean, there's so much stuff that we can't talk about all in an hour. But I mean, I was even like we talked about some of the things you deal with. I was the manager of the place. They
oh,
didn't the city didn't like that. They were every morning I would come to work. They would have stuff written on the windows and on the vehicles and all on the doors. I mean, and still to this day, I don't even know who was doing that. So I'm talking about the politics that you deal with. And then, what I'm saying, even from a young kid, being in the same neighborhoods that everybody else, running the streets. I did everything. I did all that. You know what I mean? But then when you make a decision, okay, which avenue, which fork down the road are you going to go? Are you going to go try to do the straight and narrow? Or are you going to are you going to live the thug life? What are you going to, which way you want to go? And then you start trying to venture off to the straight and narrow path, and then now you get looked at by even your own people sometimes in a crazy type of way. You know what I mean? You have to. It's just a crazy scenario for us. You know what I mean? Whether you go, either way you go, what I'm saying, there's somebody looking um, at you in a weird kind of way. You know what I mean? And where other people that in other cultures that they might not have to deal with. It's always something to deal with when you're this kind of complexion and you're that type of male. You go to straight and narrow. People looking at you like you get your hood pass revoked, or you get your your street cred is gone now because you go work at Subway for the rest of your life, or now, or if you go to the streets and you do all these other things, now you're a menace and they look at you all the different ways. But a lot of different times you don't have very many scenarios, you don't have very many options to be able to do some of the things that make you feel like you matter, or you feel like uh, you're part of a society that is looked at in a prestigious type of way, and you just have to, and you deal with a lot of different things that a lot of people don't know that you're really dealing with, no matter which direction that you go. And then you just walk around and you still have to be cool. You still have to be laid back. You still have to be calm. And people are not understanding some of the things that you do that are bad. You're doing it because that's the only option that you got. And but you're constantly dealing with something. And then you just hold it in. You just keep dealing with it, and you just try to make the best of it. And you try to look like a stand up citizen, but the world's looking at you like you ain't. Then you try to be there for your family, and then you deal with the politics of word because, like you said, because you got a family to take care of, and then you're dealing with all kind of things there, and you see the things that are happening. You can either let them have it, or you just deal with it and continue to push on. I mean, it's a crazy scenario, but at this point in time, I mean, being able to, I just want to. I'm glad that you brought this up. I mean, self care is goes a lot of different ways. Get yourself checked out. Make sure that you are being authentic to yourself. Make sure that you are doing what God has designed you to do. You know what I'm saying? Once you start to do that, you'll start to, it doesn't really matter what everybody else thinks. It doesn't matter what people around you are saying, as long as you know that you're doing what you're designed to do. get a closer walk with Him and start trying to see what you really are sent here to do. Because our time here is short, and mine could have been a lot shorter. And even if I uh, live to be 70, 80, that's still not a very long time because eternity is after that. And we have to decide where we're going to be at that point in time is what this trial basis is all for. So I thank God that, for you, I thank God for the people that prayed for me. I thank God for giving me the second chance. I thank God for all the the things that I've seen along the way and all the things that I've experienced along the way that way I can tell the younger generation, I can tell people even my age that you're not the only one that's going through it. We all deal with it. And our blood pressure and the things that go on in our body are signs of the things that we deal with and signs of the things that we go through. And when your body tells you something, you got to listen to it and go get it checked out. Especially if you can do it sooner than later, it's going to be more beneficial to you. But I'm glad that you brung it to me a few hours ago and had me come on. So
Well, thank you for being my guest. I appreciate you sharing your story. And, I just wanted to say this one thing. You were dealing with so much before you would get home. And it was funny because you would not share the stuff with me from work. You didn't bring work home. You didn't. But as soon as you walked through that door, I was telling you everything about what's going on in the house and what these kids was doing and what I didn't even give you a chance to breathe. So you had to leave one thing and then pick up another thing when you had all these other things going on. I didn't know. I found out a lot not too long ago that you had people writing stuff on the truck and saying stuff. Because if I would have knew that, you probably wouldn't have had the artery burst. You would have been fired and you wouldn't have to work because I would have went up there and gave it to them people, right? You already know. I would have went up there and I would have kicked over a table or did something crazy. So you knew that. So you didn't tell me these things because I would have went up there trying to defend my husband. And, and you had it under control. You handled it to the best of your ability and you held us down through it all. And so I thank you. I commend you. And you have always been somebody that I looked up to and you've always been my friend. And so you know that. And I thank God that He blessed us with each other because we are good together. We are oil and water, but hey, we mix.
but when that happened at work, there was nobody to go to. I was the manager at that time. Like long as I was working there, everybody was okay with that. It's like when I became the manager is when all the drama started to take place. Like they didn't want they I don't know who was upset about that, but that's when everything started to change. So there was nobody to really go up there and to let have it. It was just a decision I had to make at that
Yeah,
time.
who
But
was I was gonna let you have it. You need to get out of here.
right,
But look at God. Look at what He's done for us. And
right.
anything that we worried or feared or thought that we couldn't handle, we ain't went without a beat. God, He is taking care of us,
Hmm.
taking care of us. And we thank you for everybody who has prayed and poured out blessings and who has just been there to listen and who has stood in the gap. But I'm telling you, we haven't had to beg, borrow, or steal because God is the provider and the healer and the waymaker, and He can do all things. And He continues to strengthen us. So, on that note, I say thank you, Mr. Franklin Steens, for coming on tonight and sharing your story. And hopefully, someone is encouraged to take better care of themselves and not to get to a point to where they have to start over again, but can learn from our past mistakes. And see, I think that's the good thing about sharing your testimony. What happens to you happens for you to help someone else. It's not about you. And that's why I think you should share your story because God did do something miraculous for you. And if He did it for you, you're not better than anybody else that He created. And He wants them to know that. And so He did it to you because people believe in you and they trust you and they look up to you and they are inspired by you. So if they can see that, hey, if they did it for Frank, then they did it for me. And so then if God did it for Frank, He would do it for me. So
Right.
thank you for sharing that blessing with us, sharing this because I know how sensitive it is, but we are better people for it. And there's no looking back. The best is yet to come. And with that note, go get yourself checked out. Take care of your health. through your 30, your 20s, you might be good. Your 30s, you think you're vibrant, but when your 40s come, some things start to change and go a little differently. And that's when you really need to make sure you are being aware and mindful of what your body is telling you. And so, men, take care of yourself. It's important to do so. It's important to make sure that we have you around. We need you. And we love you and we respect you and we want to support you. Help us to do that. Help us to support you. Help us to engage you. Help us to understand how to be there for you. All the things that we've been taught the wrong way, man, we need you to teach us what you need so we can give that back to you. So, on that note, thank you for watching, everybody that was able to join in. Again, this is Minority Health Month, health awareness. So, women, men, go get yourself checked out. Don't leave it to chance. Don't think that it's just a pain that'll go away. This man had me walking on his back, talking about he had back spasms, and I'm walking on his back. Jesus, I would be devastated if me walking on your back is major artery burst, but it didn't. I had nothing to do with that. So before folks go gossiping about I tried to kill my husband by walking on his back, that ain't
That
what
was
happened.
years. That was years before. That's what I. That was my normal ritual. Like when I get if I back with her, walk on my back. That was years before. It's
Okay.
funny.
So we are going to have that barbershop initiative, and anyone again that would like to support and would like to come alongside of us, it's going to be on August 24th, 10 to 2. We're going to be out there doing some great things, spreading some great information. And if you have something that you would like to talk about, men, that you would like to discuss about your health, about your life, about things that you've been through, and how to make it better for those coming behind you, reach out to me. Yourfullmindlife.com. Send a contact form to Nika Elsteins at yourfullmindlife.com, and I will get back with you. Or you can inbox me, DM at um, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, smoke messages, messages in a bottle, helicopters through the sky, whatever. We'll get to you. But be blessed, and remember, never forget, you were created with a purpose. So God bless you on this day. Now, with any further ado, I need you to go be great. God bless you all.